Now we're back here. Just a second.
I have an observation and then I have a question for each of you. The observation is, Tim, I watch both of you every morning. I thought you were a dweeb, but you're actually a very attractive man. You need to wear those glasses.
This isn't more dweebish?
No.
Really?
The question is, and Tim, I'll let you answer it first.
Thank you.
What celebrity or public figure would be your dream?
This is my
interview?
sister-in-law, by the way.
What celebrity or public figure would be your dream interview?
Oh, I mean, I always think that, the pinnacle is to get the president on, and not somebody who wants to be president. But if to sit down for a long period of time with the president of the United States, you're awestruck to be in the presence of a sitting president of the United States.
And I mean, at this point today, when we tried, I think it would be interesting to get the nominees, because this political season has been so remarkable and so interesting. I mean, again, yeah, are they going to do Good Day? Probably not. There's no time for us. But today, those are the most interesting people to talk to across the board.
Although, in a lot of cases, their answers are so programmed and so contrived. It may really be more interesting to actually talk to a former president who
can tell it like it is.
Doesn't feel inhibited by politics and political correctness anymore.
That's frustrating. I think when you do interviews, and that's always your goal, I think, is to try to get something different, try to show a different side of whoever it is you're interviewing. And a lot of times with the celebrities, that's my big goal. We always try to think about, what can we do with this celebrity that you, the audience, has never seen before. We want to show a different side of them. And it's hard sometimes, they give those canned answers, and you're trying to break through, you're trying, and sometimes you're just not going to get anything. But when you do get something, it is satisfying for whatever reason, It just is.
We'll get a couple more, then we'll wrap it up.
And I'm not specifically referring to four-letter words or bleeped language or anything, but I'm just curious if there have been times, or anything you can think of, that would have been a time when you thought, gosh, I really wish I hadn't said that, or gosh, I really probably shouldn't have divulged that, or something, or conversely, maybe the guests have said something that, you just kind of think, oh my goodness, shouldn't have told us that.
Yeah, I think so. I can't think of anything specific, but again, being so loose, I think the fact that our format is so loose, sometimes things do come out, just for me personally, that I'm like, oh, I'm going to hear about that from somebody, kind of thing. But again, the great thing is we've got 4 hours, so they usually forget about it at some point, and we'll always have tomorrow. I remember someone once told me that when I was first starting out, and I just had the worst live shot ever. And he just said to me, there's always tomorrow. There's always tomorrow. And that is the great thing about our business. There's always tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, hopefully.
Oh, yeah, knock on wood. As long as I'm under contract.
But I think on our show it probably is more dangerous because we're told and we're encouraged to be edgy. And of course, there is an edge, and there's always the danger of going over the edge. And that's something that we have to worry about. I think our David Schuster from MSNBC learned that lesson the hard way when he said something in what I took to be, and I saw the clip, not in a mean way. I think he was trying to be irreverent and a little sassy, and he asked a political commentator, well, what about the Clintons who had their daughter Chelsea making phone calls trying to persuade superdelegates? And the term that David Schuster was, the Clintons are pimping out Chelsea, calling superdelegates. And the campaign went nuts over the use of the word pimping. And I think Schuster's was not using it in a mean way. He was using it in an irreverent way. They're basically, they're using Chelsea. and the campaign went nuts. Schuster was suspended indefinitely. Apparently, he will be brought back. But is he back now? Yeah. But I mean, that's one of those. Of course, no. Yeah, I wouldn't know that because nobody watches MSNBC. But the you know, that was one of those instances where he thought, boy, this is a good. This you know, the wheels are turning and somebody's answering another question, and he says, well, what about them pimping out Chelsea to be calling the superdelegate? And just like that, and kaboom, a thermonuclear explosion happened in the Clinton campaign, and demands that he be fired. And yeah, and so we always run that risk when they ask you to be edgy and they ask you to be irreverent. It's not entirely clear where the line is all the time.
And you do have to think before you speak. I mean, that's just the bottom line in what we do. There's always a filter up, and of course some things get through the filter sometimes where you go, but it's just what you have to learn to do basically. It's just part of the job again.
Is your show on tape delay? I'm not sure people know.
No.
Oh, that's
No.
interesting.
Exactly. See, yeah. I mean, you just.
I was just asked by someone in the audience who didn't want to speak up, him or herself, where were you all on 9/11?
I was on set.
I was as well.
Yeah. So you were in
I was in Utah at that time.
Salt Lake, okay. And I was here, and yeah, we watched. It was funny because it's like one of the. Of course, it's one of those moments where you win, and where I was sitting on the news set and got a little, you know, somebody with those voices speaking in our ears, saying, "Coming out of the break, we're going to take a shot of the World Trade Center. There's a fire." And I'm thinking, oh, okay, World Trade, that ugly building up on Stemmons Freeway, and they came out of the break, and there are the Twin Towers, and there's a fire, and that's all we do. And we went away, and came back a little bit later, and it's a bigger fire at the World Trade Center in New York, and all of a sudden, and then we heard that it had been a small airplane that it hit. It was, you know, it's one of those developing, you get more information. It was a small airplane that hit it. No, it was a large airplane that hit it. And a few minutes later, as we were watching, along comes the second airplane, and it was just absolutely surreal. At that point, you knew it was not an accident.
You were genuinely just trying to figure out what was going on at that point, because I was on the air. We were both on the air at the same time, you know, and I was
And getting no information
Yeah, getting
at
no
all.
information because this is happening in New York, you know, and at that point we didn't have as much of a relationship with our network at that time. We were still, you know, Fox 5 years ago, 4 years ago, yeah, just looking at 7 years ago. Sorry. We just didn't have that sort of relationship, so we really did. All we had was a picture, and we were trying to count on what was coming down on the feeds, which weren't coming down very fast. So it was a guessing game, really, at that point. And it was just stay with it, stay with it, stay with it, stay with it. Whatever it is that's happening, stay with it, stay with it. And so, yeah, it was horrible, horrible. We were on how long were you on there that morning? I think I was on there about 5, 6 hours before the change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, last call. Any more questions? Then I want to call up Nick Rizos. He's the owner of Stratos. This great food is his doing. And Jennifer from the Make-A-Wish Foundation of North Texas.
Guys, you do a great job. Thank you
Come
very
into the
much.
lights, both of you.
Come on, baby. Come on this way. Guys, you do a great job. Thank you very much for coming over right here. And it's you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, we need to do a good guys. That's all.
You do.
And I'm Nick, let me note that we thought this was going to be just a $500 donation, but Stratos, when they heard, you know, we're having 2 guests, they doubled it, so it's actually $1,000.
Wow, that's wonderful. It's hard to be as entertaining as you or as these guys.
For these people, you do a great job. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you for your hospitality.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I hope you like get it cooked next time, guys. Everything all right?
Eat up.
I
Tip your server well.
It was really good.
Thank
And
you.
thank you for the wonderful dessert too. I just wanted to say a couple of things really quickly.
Megan and Tim, thank you so much for thinking of the Make-A-Wish Foundation and choosing us as your charity of choice. And thank you so much to Nick and the Stratus Greek Taverna. And thank you to Ed Bark and Uncle Barky Show for having us out today. What we do at the Make-A-Wish Foundation, for those of you who may not know, we grant wishes for kids between the ages of 2.5 and 18 who have a life-threatening medical condition. And the reason that we do this is, there's lots of organizations that do other things for kids. They already have doctors and hospitals to treat them medically. But what we do is treat the emotional side and give them a break, let them have fun, let them dream, and give them a gift that takes them away from treatments in hospitals and all of that. It's the whole purpose of our organization, and it wouldn't be possible without the support of people like this and people like you. We're not government funded. A lot of people think that we are, but we're not. So we do rely on individuals and corporations to fund all that we do. The Make-A-Wish Foundation of North Texas has 4 offices, and between all 4 of our offices this year, we plan on granting 500 wishes for North Texas kids. So that's 500 children who have a life-threatening medical condition that will get to choose any wish that they want, and they're really unique. They fall into categories like I wish to go, like a trip, I wish to have, like a gift, I wish to be, those are pretty creative, or wishes to travel. We have a lot of wishes for travel. And the children can choose anything they want, and I was talking with Megan earlier that we're very fortunate, and due to the great support we do have in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, we don't have a limitation on how many kids we can grant wishes for. So as many kids actually qualify for our program, we'll get a wish, and hopefully that doesn't change. So that's what we do. If anyone has any questions about the Make-A-Wish Foundation, I'd be happy to answer them. If you want to know about donating, if you want to know about volunteering, if you want to know how kids get referred, how they qualify, anything like that, I'd be happy to answer those questions. But most of all, I want to thank Megan and Tim from Fox 4 News. Everyone at Fox 4 News has been wonderful supporters of the Make-A-Wish Foundation for a long time, and we really appreciate their support. And again, Stratus Greek Taverna and Ed Bark. So thank you so much, and thanks for coming. Appreciate it.
And oddly enough, I found out that Jennifer and I are from the same hometown of Racine, Wisconsin. So we both know what Kringle is. Oh, and there's another person from Racine. Wow. The attendance swells.
It's very lonely in Racine right now.
Yeah, the whole town has been vacated. I want to again thank Megan and Tim so much. I mean, they're really the ones responsible for the donation to the Make-A-Wish Foundation and grant. And I think they were just terrific, entertaining, fun in every way. And thank you so much, and thank you all for attending. Please spread the word. Like I say, we're trying to do these once every month to 6 weeks, and getting people in local media who you generally don't get a chance to meet outside of their environments. And so I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for coming out. And again, thanks to Tim and Megan for just being terrific and for coming in with their